Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. On this show, our very special friend of the ranch, Doyle Webb, will be with us. You don't want to miss this exciting show, so we'll be right back. Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm your host, Perry Black, and on this show we have a very special guest and friend of mine, and many of you that are watching, and that's Doyle Webb. Doyle, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here.
You know, you and I have known each other a long time, you know, and the old saying is, we've known each other for 20 years. There's nothing I wouldn't do for you and nothing you wouldn't do for me, and we've spent 20 years doing absolutely nothing for each other.
That's exactly right.
But that's really not the truth. Because in about 2000, 2001, when you were a state senator, you came to my office at Family Church Bryant.
Yes.
And who did you bring with you? Did you remember?
I don't
There was
recall.
another gentleman with you, and you said something to me about, you know, I understand you're starting a ranch for hurting children, foster children, and we had a discussion. And I was blessed to have a senator come see me. I'd never had that before. And as a result, though, over the years, you've been really instrumental in helping us help children in care. And that's why, one of the many reasons I have you on this show. So before we go too far in this first segment, I always want the audience who just happen to be peering into the ranch here to get to know you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to get to know you a little bit better than I actually do know you. You know, we probably only live 15 minutes from each other.
That's right.
Rarely see each other unless we're just walking around the community somewhere, or you drop into our church for a visit. So tell me about you. Where did you grow up?
You know, Perry, once again, it's great to be on your show. I grew up in Benton. My mother and dad grew up in Benton, DL and Dolores Webb.
Yeah.
My grandparents on both sides lived in Benton.
How big was Benton when you were born?
Oh, gosh.
Was it
we were the
10,000?
17th largest county in the state.
17.
Because I remember the license plate had 17 on
Oh,
it.
baby.
That's the way you could tell which
Yeah.
county you were from. Maybe that's how it, I don't know if that was the size or, you know, we were probably around 30,000
Back then?
back then.
Really?
It was, that was county-wide.
Oh, okay.
And today we're 125,000. Wow. My dad worked at Alcoa. My mom did bookkeeping and taxes. I had a grandfather, my grandfather Cornett, my mother was a Cornett, who drove a team of mules, and he could barely write his name. He could not read, and I have ridden down Military Road with him on his wagon and his team of mules.
Was it paved, gravel?
It was
dirt?
paved back then, but it was 2-lane, okay?
All right, I'm going to ask you a historic question.
Okay.
Why is it called, my wife literally was talking to me about this Saturday. Why is it called Military Road?
I assume it's the military road leading to, it was the Southwest Trail, leading to, matter of fact, Davy Crockett and others probably passed down it going to fight at the Alamo.
Wow.
But you know, it runs all the way out. Old Military runs out to JJ's truck stop in that area. But I believe it was military for the purpose of troop movements.
Yeah, troop movements.
And you know, there was a fort at one time where the water towers are in Benton. Now, I don't remember that fort, but I remember hearing about that fort. But I rode down Military many a time. My grandfather, whenever he took a dip of snuff, I took a dip of chocolate and sugar. So, because I love my grandpa Cornett. And
I grew up in Jonesboro.
Okay.
When we moved to Jonesboro, my dad got out of the military. I think I was the year I turned 5, and Grandpa Black sat on Johnson Road, 2 blocks off of Main Street, by the Jessup Cotton Gin. You probably know Jessup with Bank of Ozarks. Alan, good friend.
I know Alan,
Well, my dad and I, my family, we lived on the Jessup farm. That was his grandparents and then his dad's farm. And back then you walked into town, we walked into town, and there were 17,000 folks on the population of Jonesboro. Now it's one of the most populous and popular and prosperous communities in the state, northeast, and then of course up northwest, little bit different. But
I grew up over by Howard Perrin,
Yeah.
and we'd walk through the field that my uncle owned, where the post office is now,
Yeah.
to Gibson's. Gibson's where the physical education places. That was Gibson's, and then there was the Twin Cinema, Boggs Twin Cinema over there. And we couldn't go to military. Mother said, you cannot go to military. Bad things happen on military. There's teenagers over on military. They're driving cars.
What did it cost to go to the movie?
25 cents.
Yeah. Adults 35?
Probably so, probably. I remember
box of popcorn?
Buy popcorn.
10 cents.
And I never bought one of those big pickles. I thought that was just disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
To sit there in the movie eating a big old pickle.
Oh, if you got a pickle, you were high on the hog.
But then
that pickle,
downtown,
if you did it right, Doyle, you could eat that thing the whole movie.
down at the Royal Theater downtown, we had the Kaufmans owned it, and their son was Freddie, or we called him Flashlight Freddie, because if you got a little bit too close to your girlfriend, he shined a flashlight over on you.
Yeah.
I mean,
At the theater.
they were controlling what was going on in that theater. But I remember when lines would be all the way over to South Street, people lined up waiting to go to the movie.
To see Elvis, John Wayne, Rock Hudson?
Well, I like 007.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that was a little risque
Yeah, it
back
was.
in the day.
That's
Okay,
Sean Connery, no doubt.
that's exactly right. And the cars with the wheels and the special effects.
And the guy with the hat, Odd Job?
That's right. Amen.
So
and
where did-
Goldfinger. That's right.
Yeah. Where did you go to high school?
Went to Benton High School. Started at Howard Perrin. Ended up at Benton High School. Graduated in 1974. I was president of the student council and editor of the annual. They let you do. I was always active and always went to church as well.
Well, I went to church. I say my mother had a drug problem. She drove me to church every Sunday.
That's kind of how it is,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, they take you whether you like it or not. You graduated high school at Benton, and then where did you go?
Went to UALR, University of Arkansas at Little Rock.
What was your major?
My major, I was definitely going to be a dentist.
Were you
definitely. And then I ran into organic chemistry, and organic chemistry said, Doyle, you've wanted to be a lawyer all your life, okay? So I graduated from UALR in '78, then went to the UALR School of Law.
Was that a 3-year law school?
3-year law school, graduated in 1981, came back to Benton. I did the thing that no one does anymore, opened up a law office. And other lawyers came to my office and said, where are all your file cabinets? I said, well, I only have one file. It's in my desk. I'm doing a deed for Noel Deere. Noel Deere had saved a deed for me that he wanted to be my first client, and I charged $30.
And somewhere along the line, you then got involved in politics, and I think maybe prior to politics you got married. I'm going to find out a little bit more about that here in a little bit. Okay. But this show is about fostering, mentoring, and adopting, and you've been a real help to us in making a difference in the lives of foster children and the foster system. And we're going to take a brief break, and we're going to come back and talk more about your wife, who's on the Supreme Court of Arkansas, and changing lives one heart at a time. We'll be right back.
A mission field around you is filled with young hearts needing a forever family. And at Second Chance Youth Ranch, our team is committed to providing healthy, stable, loving homes and families to hurting children in the Arkansas foster care system and those up for adoption. Please contact us if you feel the tug at your heart to help foster or adopt, and find out the steps you could take to help fulfill a child's lifelong dream. Maybe you can't foster or adopt, but you could help. The need for thousands of children in the system is staggering. But with the help of faithful partners and business alliances, we are meeting those needs right now. Would you help us make a difference? Every gift, regardless of size, impacts a child's life directly and helps provide for a home in the gap right now. Visit the Second Chance Youth Ranch website at 2CYR.org to read more, watch the stories, and to make a contribution for a hurting child's care. Monthly partners are needed, so please contact us right away. And as you partner with this ministry, you are partnering with the Heavenly Father that has promised to be Father to the fatherless. God bless you for helping Second Chance Youth Ranch.
Hey, welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. You know, on these breaks, they are specifically designed to help you make a connection and somehow receive inspiration to get involved in fostering, mentoring, and adopting. Our special guest on this program, Doyle Webb, is going to be running for Lieutenant Governor here in 2022, but he's also been head of the state Republican Party, which means the party that is a constitutional conservative party that doesn't believe that the Constitution is a living organism.
That's
correct. But it's a written document that needs to be adhered to, and that's why he's a friend of mine, because I am a conservative. I don't know.
And we believe those rights are given to us by God.
How you spell that?
G-O-D, not G-O-V.
Not G-O-V, G-O-D.
That's right.
But being involved in government allows us to pass legislation in honor that honors God and stays true to the founding documents of our country and our state.
Absolutely.
You know, I've read a little bit of history because sometimes a history book will have pictures, so I read. But in our original colonies, you're an attorney. Can you tell me, in our original colonies, was there some requirements to even run for office that had to do with faith, God,
Yes.
that kind of stuff?
Yes. Matter of fact, in Virginia, you had to be a member of the Episcopal Church, the Church of England, to hold office at that time. And the original amendment, Amendment 1, Establishment Clause, was to keep the federal government from establishing a state religion, a national religion, because it was left up to the states to do that kind of thing. So faith, the original documents were not designed to keep God out of our lives and God out of government.
So, but there's this guy named Jefferson, and in a speech, he used a phrase, something about separation of church and state. When I interview your wife, who's on the Supreme Court, I'm going to ask her the same question, I hope. But did he establish some sort of a doctrine in that speech, or has that phrase been somehow taken out, separation of church and state?
I think that's been taken out because the First Amendment says establishment, and that's where I go back to. You know, you had France, what the predominant religion was. You had England, it was the Church of England. You had Spain, it was the Holy Catholic Church. So, but in the United States, we wanted freedom of religion, and the federal government would not establish a religion.
Yeah, and that was the key.
That's correct. Matter of fact, in the Arkansas Constitution, and it's still in there, that you can't be an atheist and hold public office.
Still in there.
Still in the
Probably
Constitution.
being ignored a little bit.
It's been ignored a lot.
So the revisionists have tried to change history, but if we'll go back and really study history, which sometimes we're not being as conscious in our schools of really studying civics and history as we did when you and I grew up. I hate to mention it, but I'm actually older than you, but not by much. We learned some things that are maybe not being emphasized like they were, but faith has always played an important part in our state and in our country. Is that correct?
Absolutely. You know, I think where separation of church and state really took hold was by the Supreme Court when it took prayer out of the public schools.
And that was 1960 what?
1960. Let's
About
your memory's
1964,
better than mine because you're
65?
older than I am.
Yeah,
okay?
I was in the 9th grade at Westside Junior High down by the old Emmanuel Baptist Church downtown, the old Baptist Hospital.
I was born there.
12.
I was born at the old Baptist Hospital.
Well, I could see that hospital from Westside, what they called the playground. It was a concrete fenced-in area. It's an inner-city school. It's been turned into condominiums or townhouses now. It was shut down for many years, but that's where my sister went to nursing school. Mr. Ball in the 9th grade, who was not my favorite homeroom teacher, but boy, he was adamant about two things. You opened school every morning with prayer and a Bible verse. And he was sincere
We
about
did that in Benton. I remember up until the 6th grade, someone was assigned to lead the Lord's Prayer, and someone was assigned to read a Psalms. And then we also did the Pledge of Allegiance. It was all three of those things every morning.
Yeah, we sang some song about my country, 'tis of thee.
Yeah, it's kind of a popular tune now.
Liberty of thee I see. You know, those things are ingrained in me.
That's right.
My journey, a little bit different than yours. I grew up in Jonesboro, moved to Central Arkansas when I was 14. We moved to the Methodist Children's Home. We lived there for about 3 years. I wanted to be in social work. I wanted to help young people that needed another chance. I wandered away from the Lord, then I gave my life to Christ in 1972 and committed my life to making a difference in the lives of hurting kids. Your relationship and mine has it's really been built around not politics, and really faith is just something we share, but our connection has been with helping kids in foster care.
Absolutely.
So I want to make sure people understand, when we started the ranch, I began to find out I was building foster homes. I was just happening to build them on all the same property. And when the state found out that I was building the ranch, they started sharing with me all the regulations. And you and the gentleman that came to see me stepped up and began to intercede. You helped me get to Governor Huckabee, Lieutenant Governor Winthrop Rockefeller. I think you joined us with Warren Stevens.
Yes.
And we were all sharing about the need for children in care. And you, Shane Broadway, who went to school at Bryant with my daughter Leah, you guys all worked together along with the governor and his office, and were instrumental in helping us get water in the Perrin Water District expansion. Y'all helped us get water through 3 miles of the woods to bring water to Second Chance Ranch and expand the Perrin Water District. And that was huge.
You know what happened, Perry, and your memory is exactly right. There was a water treatment plant on the banks of Lake Washita, and it had a certain amount of allocation of water. And there was a grant program at the time that was established because Sam Walton had died. But there was so much wealth there that the state had accumulated that tax from the estate, and it was assigned for water districts.
Wow.
And I went to that, I made a presentation, and we were able to get $800,000 to bring water from Lake Washita to Perrin and to the school.
Ultimately to us,
and
yeah,
that's what, thank goodness for Walmart.
Wow.
Okay, there you go. But you know, let me say this. I think the common denominator is that we all know that there are children out there, even children of parents that are looking for something else, that always, they may stray from their parents, they may stray from someone that they respect, and they look for something else. Well, sometimes that can be a drug dealer, sometimes that can be something else, but what we hope it is a person of faith, of Christian faith. And what the Second Chance Ranch and what you have done for foster kids, and now we have so many kids that are fatherless, is helping change the world. And if we can change one kid at a time, more power to you.
One heart, one child at a time.
That's right.
We're going to take a brief break. We'll be right back with Doyle Webb.
My name is Brecken, and I am 14 years old. I like playing video games quite a bit, and I usually stay in my room. I would like to become a scientist or a beta tester for video games. My favorite video game that I have played would be Doom Eternal.
So, the reason we're doing this, as I mentioned, is we're trying to find a family that you can stay with forever. Is that something that you want?
I wouldn't want extremely strict. I also would like them to be okay with a lot of things. I have a brain injury. I constantly forget things, quite a bit.
If you could wish for one thing, what would you wish for?
I'd wish for things to be better than they are.
Hey, welcome back. I know the Spirit of God is speaking to your heart. I know that when you watch this show that you're watching it on a divine connection, and God is speaking to you on how you can be involved. You know, Doyle and I have been connected now for over 20 years, making a divine connection to help children in care. And there's something that you can do. You can get involved in mentoring, fostering, adopting, financial support, and prayer. And I'm telling you, there's many organizations around this state, just like Second Chance Youth Ranch, right there in the area where you live, that need you, your group, your business, your civic organization, your Sunday school group, to get involved in making a difference on that campus. Not just at Second Chance Youth Ranch, but we're here every week to remind you there are thousands of young people in foster care, about 275 to 298 that are looking for forever families. That's an adoptive home. And this is your opportunity to make that phone call, send an email, make a connection, talk with Billy and Rachel, and let us help you make a connection. You have a gift that needs to be used to change a life. Doyle, this show is really designed just to connect people and just keep letting people know there's children waiting on them to help. Mm-hmm. You and your wife Barbara have been a real friend to us and a friend to the ranch, making a huge difference. When we started the ranch, immediately I get a phone call, and just show you the divine connection. So I get a phone call from the health department, from the engineers. A couple of them were Christian guys that go to church back in those days, 20 years ago, on Alcoa Road, wonderful Baptist church, and they called me to the engineer's office down at the health department. Who are you in contact with? I said, is there someone to be in contact with? I'm just doing what God told me to do, and that's build foster homes. And they said, well, where are you getting your water? I said, out of the ground. They said, that's not possible. And I said, what do you mean it's not possible? You talked about, the water in that community,
yes,
not always being as good as we'd like it to be, and that's why getting water and the Walton money,
yes,
being able to expand that, and even bringing water to the ranch. And they said, well, how deep are your wells? 300, 350 feet? I said, no, about 126. They said, that's not possible. I said, don't tell my wells. And we met many times, governor's conference room at the Capitol, et cetera, and the federal and state people kept saying, you got to have good water. And I said, well, we have water, we have wells. And they said, yeah, but that's not good. You need city water. And they gave me a cease and desist order. My good Christian brothers said, you got to cease and desist. And I said, listen, guys, y'all go to church. Y'all believe in God just like I do. I said, why would God give us 150 acres, now 300, and not give us water? I said, right. Moses had about 1 million to 2 million Jews in the wilderness, and they were thirsty, so Moses went over and tapped a rock and got water. So I said, it doesn't make any sense that we won't have water on the land where we're going to build this ranch.
Right.
And so they said, well, until you get the water thing resolved, which you were instrumental in helping, you can't continue to build because we won't give you water permits. And I said, I will continue to build. I just won't build anything that has to have water.
There you go.
We kept building, and now 2005 we opened up, about 5 years after I met you, we opened up with our first child. He was 18. His parents and grandparents had died from Hot Springs, Arkansas. I saw him not too long ago. He's a mechanic. And now we've had hundreds of young people come to us, many restored to their families, many who've been adopted, and many who have just grown up and are now our moms and dads themselves. You played a huge role in that.
You know, and my role is not as important as those individuals that work with the kids.
Yeah, they're
every
in the
day.
trenches, aren't they?
And I love that area. It's people would not recognize Saline County has rolling hills, a little bit of wilderness, and you've built an old West town. When I went out there, and Barbara and I went out there, I expected to see Matt Dillon walking down the street. I was wondering where the jailhouse was. You know, I saw the church house, and I saw the saloon. I didn't see Miss Kitty. But you know, changing lives, and y'all have encouraged people to find their gifts. Everyone has a gift that they can share with someone else. You just have to discover what God's gift is in you so that you can be part of changing the world.
Yeah, and a gift is a gift from God, and it's given to be given away.
Absolutely.
Jesus said it kind of like this: freely you receive, freely give. And your gift is legal matters, being in the trenches at the Capitol. My gift is talking.
There you go.
Inspiring.
Sometimes I'm
encouraging.
fighting the devil. You know, I mean, people, government is good to an extent, but there's always, Satan is always, as I tell people, Satan walks the halls of the Capitol.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for him, he's behind one of those
Well, I've been down there.
columns.
I've seen him a couple of times. But you know, that's why people of faith have to be involved. You know, again, the statement, when good people do nothing, tyranny reigns. And you've heard me say this, politics is dirty is what people say. Well, yeah, if good people aren't involved, then the only people left are people that aren't so good or maybe don't share our values.
That's right.
And what are our values? What did Jesus get crucified for? Well, let me think. Jesus healed people. He loved people, forgave prostitutes. He healed the sick. He loved everybody. Hanging on the cross, he said, Father, forgive them.
Right.
So I want to be like him.
There you go.
Now, we
There
all
you
have
go.
a lot of growing to do.
That's right. Well, the other thing, and you know this, everyone's gift is not the same.
Yeah.
And every gift is important.
Very important.
And one gift shouldn't tell the other that you're not important.
That's
I think
exactly
that's in Corinthians,
Yeah.
where we look at that kind of thing. So each one of us, I believe in service above self.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're calling on people. Forget yourself.
Yeah.
Look to see what God has called you to do to help His flock.
Yeah.
You know, and you have been a great leader in doing that. Who would have thought this little old church over on I-30 could
In a
have
shopping center.
could have changed all the lives that it has changed in
Well,
just 20 years?
Only one, and that's the Lord. And He takes the least of us oftentimes to do the most. And that's so that He always gets the glory. People say, Perry, do you take credit? I said, never. I only take cash. But He gets all the glory. He gets all the credit because I'm way in over my head. And I think it was D.L. Moody said, if you have a great dream, something that's far beyond you, if you serve a great God, then you need to dream a great dream.
That's right.
And years ago, I got in over my head. We want you to get involved. You know, people like Doyle and his wonderful wife, Barbara, have helped make a difference. Not always in the trenches, but in the background, always there to encourage, support, and make a difference. And so can you. Will you please contact us right here at 2CYR-TV or 2CYR.org. Make that call, make that connection, and see how God can use your gift, because your gift will make a difference. One heart, one life at a time. Bye-bye.